the season is toward to the end, and can you tell us how do you see the performance of all the drivers, and how do you see the development of this racing series so far?
Well, I mean, it's perfect training ground. You know, a lot of these drivers are trying to get to Formula One, so to come here to Asia to race here is perfect preparation for the season, the summer season. Driving's been getting better and better. I've loved the racing we've seen this weekend. A lot of side-by-side stuff. Hard racing, but giving each other racing room, so that's been good to see.
刚刚我问到 Alex 呢，他对这个赛季到目前为止的发展怎么看呢？他说他非常好，非常开心能够看到很多的车手，那么他们会有一些非常激烈的一些比赛的经历，而且呢，他也会觉得这个赛季对于所有的车手来讲，都对于夏季的这个赛季是一个非常好的准备工作。Back to you guys.
Thank you, Feline, and welcome along everybody once again to the Sepang International Circuit for race 12 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. We're here at the Sepang International Circuit, some 45 kilometres south of the Malaysian capital, Kuala Lumpur. It's been a fantastic weekend of racing so far. Race 10 and race 11 both provided some thrilling action and resulted in 2 wins apiece for Jack Doohan, who has eaten into the championship lead of Dutch driver Joey Alders by a considerable margin. Jack Doohan now just 22 points behind Joey Alders, with Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver, a further 23 points behind Jack Doohan, and it looks like the championship is going to be a battle between these 3 drivers. Only 4 races left of the 15 races on the calendar at the moment, and it's getting down to the business end of the championship now. 5 rounds across this 2020 F3 Asian Championship season and 3 races at each round. 15 races altogether, and now we're getting ready for race 12 of 15. Jack Doohan, as I said earlier, 2 wins out of 2 so far this weekend in Sepang, and he'll be hoping to make it a hat-trick here, and he starts from pole position. Ukio Sasahara, the Japanese driver, will be alongside him in 2nd position, and championship leader Joey Alders in 3rd place, with Jamie Chadwick, the British driver who's been improving all season long, well up in 4th position on the grid. Pietro Fittipaldi, the Brazilian driver, will line up 5th. Yu Kuai, the Chinese driver, well up in 6th place. Tommy Smith sits 7th. Yu Kanemaru 8th. Miki Koyama 9th, and Thomas Ludi in 10th place, with Nikita Mazepin and Alessio De Leda on the final row. There is your championship leader, the number 23 car, Joey Alders, sitting in 3rd position on the grid. Final preparations just being made. His mechanic there just going, making sure all the wheels are on nice and tight. And as you can see from the picture there, lots of bright sunshine here today. So it's a dry race, just as it was this morning. No threat of rain that we saw in race 10 yesterday, where all the drivers were on their wet weather tyres, but no such conditions today. Nice dry conditions, very hot here in Sepang, as it often is, and all the drivers making their way onto the grid for this final race of 3 here at Sepang this weekend. This, of course, the 2nd visit to Sepang in the 2020 championship season. The first round took place in December 2019, even before 2020 had got underway. So this is the 2nd time that we're in Sepang. A very good racetrack, produces some fantastic racing, lots of space, a very wide track, lots of overtaking opportunities as well. We saw some fantastic battles up and down the field, both in this morning's race 11 and in race 10 yesterday. And let's head down to Feline now on the grid.
So, Jack, do you feel any pressure for this race for the overall championship title fighting?
No, not really. Just focus on my own race. Take it race by now. I think there's more pressure on Joey, so we'll just keep on doing our own thing. Thanks.
刚刚呢，我问到Jack 他有没有觉得压力对于这个整个的championship 的 overall title 的一个 fighting。那么他说呢，他没有压力，其实更多的压力是在 Joey 身上，他呢就只是关注于每一场比赛，希望把每一场比赛都比好。Back to you guys.
Well, Jack Doohan getting himself focused for the start of the race. And as he says, all the pressure on his championship rival Joey Alders, who sits in 3rd place on the grid directly behind Jack Doohan, who's been pretty dominant so far this weekend in Sepang. In race 10, he led away from pole position, led the whole race, and never was really threatened by any of the other drivers. Took victory ultimately by around about 4 seconds in very tricky, very slippery conditions with all the drivers on their wet tyres. In this morning's race, he started in 3rd place, made his way up to 2nd by the first corner, and then by lap 4 had overtaken Joey Alders to take the lead that he was not to lose for the rest of the race. And his championship prospects were given a big boost by the fact that Joey Alders ran into a bit of trouble, seemingly struggling with grip and struggling with his tyres, and finished down in 7th position, only collecting 6 championship points, while Doohan collected 25. So that's given Jack Doohan a big boost, and back down to Feline.
It's very close fight between you and Jack for the overall championship now, and you just started behind him. Do you feel any pressure?
Yeah, it shouldn't have got so close. In race 2 we had a problem with the tires, the same problem we had in Q1, where I qualified 7. So after 5-6 laps in the race, the rear tire blew up and I got oversteer like in every corner. So I was glad I could even finish the race. From now on, yeah, we need to see race by race and just focus on this one and get back some points to save the championship. Thank you.
那么刚刚呢，我问到他，因为呢现在已经是非常在接近赛季的尾声，他跟 Jack 之间的分数呢也是非常的接近。他提到呢他的确呢他在第一个 qualifying 没有做出很好的成绩，只拿到了第7位的发车。那么同时呢，在上一场比赛当中呢，也是因为一些问题呢，没有得到一个好的分数。但是呢，他现在呢还是希望把每一场比赛比好，然后呢最终拿到一个好的成绩。Back to you guys.
Well, Joey Alders just confirming there that he was indeed in a bit of tyre trouble this morning. And this morning's race, his worst result of the season so far, down in 7th position, only collecting 6 points, while Jack Doohan collected 25. Joey Alders still leading the championship with 197 points, but Doohan closing the gap, now just 22 points behind on 175 points. So Joey Alders, I wonder if he's starting to feel the pressure a little bit. He will have not wanted to finish so far down as he did this morning. He would have hoped to have kept Doohan at least at arm's length, but the Australian driver very much with the momentum now. And Nikita Mazepin still in 3rd position in the championship.
So Jamie, you seems like getting your pace good this race weekend. Are you ready to kick the boys' ass?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, pace has been good so far. So yeah, starting 4th, hopefully we can go for another podium.
Good. 刚刚我问到他呢，他说这个比赛周他觉得自己的速度一直都是非常不错的，他也希望呢能在这场比赛当中再次登上领奖台。Back to you guys.
Yes, Jamie Chadwick, the British driver, starting well up on the grid in 4th position. And in both races so far at Sepang this weekend, she's finished in 3rd place. So she'll be hoping to make it a hat-trick of podium finishes here this weekend. The British driver improving all season long, and those 2 third-place finishes, her best results of the season so far. It was announced recently also that Chadwick would deepen her relationship with the Williams F1 team. She's currently a development driver there, and hopefully with a bright future in motorsport ahead of her. There is your pole sitter, Jack Doohan, the Australian driver racing under the British licence. On pole position, winner of the 2 previous races here this weekend, and hoping to make it 3 wins from 3 here at Sepang. 5 minutes to go until the green flag. You can see there the board being held up in the middle of the screen. Mechanics and engineers still on the grid. Everybody just filing off now. And there is 2nd place man Ukio Sasahara, last year's Asian F3 champion, a guest driver in this series, so he can't score championship points, but nevertheless a very good opportunity for Sasahara to get some driving, some experience under his belt in these Northern Hemisphere winter months, where typically not a lot of racing takes place. And one of the good things about this 2020 F3 Asian Championship is the fact that it takes place so early in the season. The last round of 5 will be next weekend in Thailand in Buriram, and then after that the drivers can concentrate on entering into another championship in time for the European season. There is Joey Alders, the championship leader, in his number 23 Black Arts racing machine. Just getting prepared there. A nice view of the halo there. You see that device that sort of cocoons the driver in the seat, and that's to give some added head protection in the event of any accident and any debris flying up that might strike the driver. Plenty of safety innovations in open wheel motorsport, and the halo is just the latest one of many. And a very welcome addition it is too. There is Jamie Chadwick, we heard from just now, on the grid, starting in 4th place, and she'll hope to continue with her good form at Sepang so far this weekend. She certainly seemed to be enjoying herself last time out. A fantastic duel between herself and not only Nikita Mazepin, but also Joey Alders. And some fantastic racing, as we heard from Alex Yu, the driver advisor on the grid. Of course, one of Malaysian motorsport's favourite sons, Alex Yu, the first Malaysian to drive in Formula One back in 2002 with the Minardi team. Of course, once a teammate of Fernando Alonso as well. So Alex Yoong, certainly some very good motorsport pedigree there for Malaysian drivers to look up to and follow. There's Pietro Fittipaldi, another very famous name, grandson of the double Formula One world champion and double Indianapolis 500 winner Emerson Fittipaldi. And he starts from 5th on the grid, having finished 4th in the 2 races so far here at Sepang. Started 2nd on the grid in this morning's race, and he'll be hoping for a good showing here in the 3rd race of 3 here at the Sepang International Circuit. Everybody getting off the grid now. Final preparations being made. There is Yu Kuai, the only Chinese driver in the race. And he finished down in 6th place in this morning's race. In that very distinctive Ayrton Senna-inspired helmet of his. Nice to see close racing up and down the field so far at Sepang this weekend. Not just at the front, but the drivers further down the field, racing hard, passing and repassing. And it's worth noting, or I think it bears repeating, what Alex Yoong said on the grid about how good the racing has been here this weekend. We've seen lots of close racing, but nobody's getting too close. Nobody's coming into contact. Nobody's spun off. Nobody's collided with the wall or with anybody else. There's been lots of close racing, everybody giving each other just enough room, hard but fair racing, and fantastic to see. There is Tommy Smith, the young Australian driver, starting from 7th position on the grid. And everybody just getting ready now for half an hour's racing around this Sepang International Circuit, an FIA Grade 1 venue. That is the highest grading that any circuit is given by the FIA, motorsport's global governing body. There is Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver. The Sepang International Circuit hosted the Malaysian Formula One Grand Prix from 1999 until 2017 and still hosts the Malaysian Motorcycle Grand Prix. 2 wheels, a very popular mode of transport and of motorsport as well here in Malaysia. But it's all about 4 wheels today for the F3 Asian Championship. Sepang, the first Formula One track to have been designed by the famous German architect Hermann Tilke, who's designed so many of the world's top racing circuits today, including the Sakir Circuit in Bahrain, the Shanghai International Circuit, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, and of course the Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi that the F3 Asian Championship visited last time out for round 3. And Sepang, a fantastic venue in its own right. It does rain a lot here, but no danger of that today. Lots of bright sunshine, and you can see the heat haze on the camera. It's always very hot here in Malaysia. We're very close to the equator. But it looks as if the rain might relent this afternoon. Sometimes you never quite know what the weather will bring here at Sepang. But let's have another look at the grid. Jack Doohan on pole position there in the Pinnacle Motorsport car. Alongside him, Ukio Sasahara, the Japanese driver, racing for High Tech. The 2 of them share the first row. Joey Alders, the championship leader, the Dutch driver, in 3rd position on the grid. And alongside him, Jamie Chadwick, the British driver, hoping to make it 3 podium finishes out of 3 here at Sepang this weekend. 5th place is Pietro Fittipaldi, who finished 4th in both races so far. and he'll be hoping for another good showing. And he's alongside Yu Kuai, the Chinese driver, who starts 6th on the grid. Tommy Smith, the Australian driver for Absolute Racing, is on row 4, and he's partnered by Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver for Black Arts Racing, with 1 win under his belt so far this season. Miki Koyama, another Japanese driver, making her first appearance of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season here at Sepang this weekend, and she's alongside the Masters driver Thomas Ludi. And on row 6, Nikita Mazepin starting 11th after some problems in qualifying, and his high-tech Grand Prix teammate Alessio De Leda is alongside him on row 6, also after suffering some problems in qualifying. So this is the formation lap. You'll see all the cars weaving from side to side there. They are just trying desperately to get some heat into those tyres and into those brakes. They don't work very well when they're cold. Very important to get some heat into the tyres. There goes Ukio Sasahara. He's in 2nd place, weaving this way and that. And Pietro Fittipaldi in the very distinctive red car there. The Brazilian starting from 5th position on the grid. Had a bit of a poor start in this morning's race. He started 2nd, but was down to 6th by the opening lap after getting a bit bogged down at the start and then getting crowded out, but fought back to finish 4th. There is the number 9 car of Thomas Ludi in the Masters category. But leading the field round on this formation lap is Jack Doohan, the 17-year-old Australian, son of the legendary motorcycle world champion Mick Doohan. But Jack Doohan doing his racing in cars rather than bikes. 2nd in the championship so far, with 4 wins from 11 races so far. And the young Doohan, clearly a young man in a hurry, with the potential of a very bright future in motorsport ahead of him. Doohan with 4 wins, and Joey Alders also with 4 wins. The two of them have taken 8 wins from the 11 races so far. Nikita Mazepin in 3rd place in the championship. He's taken 1 win, but it's his consistency that really sees him in 3rd position, because he's finished 4th and 5th many times. He's finished every race so far this season in the points, never finished lower than 5th. So Mazepin, a very solid performer in his own right. But he starts down in 11th place in today's race after a few problems in the qualifying session, so it'll be interesting to see him try to work his way up through the field. No such problems for Jack Doohan, of course, who once again has a clear track ahead of him. He started in pole position in yesterday's race 10 and was never headed. And no doubt he'll be wanting to lead from the front again. Ukio Sasahara alongside him in 2nd position. Joey Alders, the championship leader, in 3rd place. They're all filing onto the grid now for their spots. When those red lights go on, they'll get ready, and when the red lights go out, we'll be racing again for race 12 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season here at Sepang. The final stop at Sepang here this season. 6 races we will have had by the end of the year. The green flag is waving. The red lights are on, and now they're off, and we are racing at Sepang again. And it's a great start from Jamie Chadwick. It looks as if Ukio Sasahara has stalled. Sasahara, the Japanese driver, stalled from 2nd on the grid. Bitter disappointment for him, and fantastic that nobody else managed to hit him. Everybody took avoiding action, but up at the front, that's really helped Jack Doohan, because he's got away from his pole position. It looks as if that's Jamie Chadwick in 2nd place. Can't quite see. No, it's Joey Alders in 2nd position. So Joey Alders in 2nd place. Jamie Chadwick perhaps losing out after being stuck behind Ukio Sasahara's stalled car on the grid. Looks like Chadwick is down to 6th position, but up at the front, Doohan still leading. Joey Alders in 2nd place. That is the number 16 car of Tommy Smith well up there, and challenging Yu Kanemaru. Yu Kuai behind him as well. Yu Kuai looks as if he's in 5th place. Chadwick down into 6th place. So that would put Yu Kanemaru in 3rd position. We'll have to wait and see just where everybody is after the positions have sorted themselves out a bit. Bit difficult to tell in these opening stages, but one thing is for sure, Jack Doohan has got well away from his pole position. Joey Alders is in 2nd place, and it is Yu Kanemaru up into 3rd from 8th on the grid. Great start from the Japanese driver. Tommy Smith looks as if he's in 4th position in the number 16 car. 5th is Yu Kuai by the looks of things, and Jamie Chadwick down into sixth place. So Jamie Chadwick really suffering from having been stuck behind Ukio Sasahara's stalled car, but very good indeed. Lightning reactions from the British driver. Very good for her that she managed to take avoiding action and didn't run into the back of Sasahara's stricken car. But as they go onto the back straight for the first time is Jack Doohan, now with a handsome lead over his championship rival Joey Alders, up into second position after overtaking Ukio Sasahara. And the marshals have managed to get Sasahara's car. Well, either he's got going eventually, or the marshals have managed to push his car away. But in any case, there's a clear track as the cars come around to complete lap one. Jack Doohan in the lead, Joey Alders second, Yu Kanemaru third, Smith in fourth, Yu Kwai in fifth, Chadwick down to sixth, Mazepin up to seventh from 11th on the grid. Pietro Fittipaldi, another one who lost out, he's down to eighth from his fifth place on the grid. Alessio De Leyda is up a few places, he's in ninth place, Miki Koyama in 10th, Thomas Ludi 11th, and Sasahara, it does look as if he got going eventually because he's classified as 12th. We haven't seen much of him, but he clearly came round because he's classified as having completed lap one. So Ukio Sasahara, after his very, very slow start, underway in 12th place. And it should be fun to watch him try to make his way up through the field after that very unfortunate start. There is Yu Kanemaru, the third place man who must have made a lightning start. Very difficult to see exactly what went on because all the cars were busy jostling for position and trying to avoid the stricken high tech of Sasahara. They were going 5 or 6 abreast into the first corner. This Sepang International Circuit, obviously a very wide circuit, and these cars quite narrow. These F3 machines quite a bit narrower than the F1 cars that used to go around here, and the GT cars that still go around here. And of course, with the cars being so narrow, it means that they can go 5 or 6 abreast on this very wide Sepang International Circuit. But there we are. You see the first few cars now making their way onto the back straight again. This is lap 2. And Jack Doohan still holding his pole position. Joey Alders still in second place, and a bit of a gap developing now between Joey Alders and Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, in third place. Tommy Smith in fourth, Yu Kwai in fifth, Jamie Chadwick down to sixth, and she'll be looking to make up for lost time. The 4 of those cars absolutely together, and Nikita Mazepin just behind Jamie Chadwick as well. Fittipaldi down to 8th place, and battle down the field there. That looks like that's the number 10 car. That is Alessio De Leyda and Miki Koyama having a battle. That is for 9th place down the field. Great to see so much close racing up and down the field here, not just in this race, but all throughout this weekend. And all the drivers giving each other racing room and showing each other respect, but also racing hard. They all want to do well and they all want to win. But the man who's winning at the moment is this man, 17-year-old Jack Doohan, the Australian driver racing under the British licence. And he's well on his way to making it 3 wins out of 3 here at Sepang this weekend, and taking another few points out of the championship lead of Joey Alders, the Dutch driver, in second position. There he is in the background there. The gap 1.8 seconds at the last count. The last time they went through the start-finish straight, and Joey Alders 3.2 seconds ahead of Yu Kanemaru in third place. And this is the train that Yu Kanemaru is leading. Kanemaru, Smith, Yu Kwai, Chadwick, Mazepin and Fittipaldi. So that is 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Those 6 cars absolutely together, with just over 24 minutes of the race still to go. This is a timed race, remember, half an hour long. So it's not a set number of laps. It's half an hour, and it's however many laps we complete in that half-hour time period. So Jack Doohan still sitting pretty at the front. Joey Alders riding shotgun in second place, and a gap down to Yu Kanemaru. And this is where the close racing is here. Yu Kwai challenging Tommy Smith, and Jamie Chadwick challenging Yu Kwai, and Nikita Mazepin looking for a way past Jamie Chadwick. So 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th and 7th all together. Jack Doohan still in the lead now, 2 seconds ahead of Joey Alders, who is 4 seconds ahead of Kanemaru. So these two just slightly pulling away from the rest of the field. These two, of course, the championship leaders. Joey Alders ahead of Jack Doohan in the table, but Jack Doohan ahead of Joey Alders today on the track. This is the right-hander at turn 4. We've seen some good overtaking opportunities there as they climb the hill. Plenty of overtaking opportunities at this Sepang International Circuit. A very wide track, several different lines that the drivers can take through the corners, and we've seen drivers using that to their advantage. Joey Alders in second place there, and I wonder if he's starting to feel the pressure. Jack Doohan taken a lot of points out of the Dutchman this race weekend. The gap down to 22 points now, and it was 41 points not so very long ago. There is Yu Kanemaru still in third position. We heard Joey Alders on the grid complaining about his tyres, and indeed in this morning's race he went down from second place to about 7th or 8th place very quickly indeed, clearly really struggling with the pace. And I wonder if we'll see any of the other drivers today struggling with their tyres as well. It's very hot out there, and that can increase the tyre wear, the tyre degradation. But no sign of any problems just yet. We're just under 1/3 of the way through the race, as Nikita Mazepin now having a look inside Jamie Chadwick, who goes defensive. Mazepin going to the inside as Yu Kuai locks up as well. Mazepin, well, it looked like he struggled to take the corner, and Jamie Chadwick got forced out as well, and that's brought Pietro Fittipaldi into play as well. So the three of them having a battle there for 6th, 7th and 8th. Look at them. Mazepin has made it ahead of Jamie Chadwick, but the British driver coming back at him now. Chadwick fighting back as they come through the first corner, and Fittipaldi coming through the inside as well. So Fittipaldi, is he going to take that position? Yes, he is. But Chadwick now has the inside line as they go through the left-hander. And Chadwick, they go side by side, but it looks like Fittipaldi has just held it. So Mazepin up into 6th, Fittipaldi up to 7th, and Chadwick crowded out down to 8th position. But she's fighting back now. Fittipaldi has to go defensive through turn 4. That might compromise his exit and give Chadwick a run as they go through the high-speed turn 5 and turn 6. But it looks as if Fittipaldi's got that move done for the time being. The Brazilian driver in that distinctive red car. A lot of these liveries tend to look very similar, and it's hard to tell exactly who's who, but no danger of mixing Fittipaldi up with anybody, because nobody else has that distinctive red livery. That is very much the Brazilian driver. And he's now the meat in that sandwich, with Mazepin in 6th place ahead of him and Chadwick in 8th place behind him. And a bit of a set of unfortunate circumstances there for Chadwick. She lost out at the start, having started 4th, when she got bogged down a bit behind the slow-starting Ukio Sasahara. And then now crowded out and down to 8th place after being overtaken by Mazepin and Fittipaldi in fairly quick succession. There is Yu Kuai, the Japanese driver, who started 6th. He's made up 1 place so far, sits in 5th position. And this man, Jack Doohan, has started as he means to go on. Started from pole position, and he's still leading the race, and comes down to start lap 6 here at Sepang. Joey Alders in 2nd place, 3 seconds behind now. So Jack Doohan just managing the gap, and Yu Kanemaru a further 5 seconds behind Joey Alders. So the front two pulling away slightly from the cars behind them, and this is where the real interest in the race is at the moment. Plenty of battles here between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th places. Lots of close racing between these 6 cars. Great to see. Great entertainment here at the Sepang International Circuit. There is that is Tommy Smith, well up in 4th position. That's his most competitive running of the season so far. He's not finished higher than 7th, but he's going very well in 4th place at the moment, the Australian driver, and he's keeping Yu Kuai behind him very well indeed. Jack Doohan still in the lead, still driving very sensibly, not doing anything too rash, just holding that position. No need to panic just yet, no need to push too hard. Of course he wants to push, but he doesn't want to push too hard, take too many risks and run the risk of sliding off into that gravel trap, because once you get onto the gravel, it's very difficult to get out of it again. A lot of the newer racing circuits that have been constructed in the last few years tend to use tarmac as a runoff area, but the Sepang International Circuit, although it was very state-of-the-art when it was first built in 1999, and it still is a very first-class facility, still a legacy of over 20 years. They still have gravel, which was very much in use 20 or so years ago to slow the cars down. Nowadays, a lot of the modern circuits tend to use tarmac as runoff, and that means that if the drivers do run off, then they've got a chance of getting back into the race. But gravel, if you do get bogged down in that, it's very difficult to get out of it again. So the drivers perhaps a little mindful of that. They don't want to take any undue risks and end up beached in the gravel and have their afternoon over and their race over for the day. But we've seen nobody beached in the gravel so far today, and indeed so far this weekend. Everybody still running. Jack Doohan still in the lead. Joey Alders still in second place. Yu Kanemaru, this man, still in third place, still keeping Tommy Smith and Yu Kwai behind him. Yu Kanemaru had an extremely dominant win in race 6 in Dubai, winning by some 20 seconds from the rest of the field. It was an absolutely inspired performance from the Japanese driver, but apart from that, he hasn't managed to finish on the podium so far this season. Apart from that one dominant win, his best finish is 5th place. So it'll be a welcome fillet for the Japanese driver if he can finish on the podium again for the second time in 2020 here this afternoon. We're approaching half distance in the race, 16.5 minutes still to go, and still Jack Doohan in the lead, still Joey Alders in second position, and Yu Kanemaru at the moment rounding out the top 3. Tommy Smith, the Australian driver, in 4th place, and Yu Kwai, the Chinese driver, in 5th position at the moment. Yu Kwai, his best finish so far was 4th place in race 3, also here at Sepang back in December. Not managed to finish on the podium yet, Yu Kwai, but he's in 5th place at the moment. And going very competitively indeed. There is Joey Alders, your second place man. 4 wins so far in 2020 for Joey Alders, and 4 wins also for Jack Doohan. So these two, it looks as if the championship battle is going to be a 2-horse race between these two drivers. But 3rd place in the championship is Nikita Mazepin, who's having a look around the outside of Yu Kwai now. A little puff of smoke from Tommy Smith as well in 4th position. But Mazepin, who started in 11th place after a few problems in qualifying, is now up to 6th, and he's challenging Yu Kwai. Having a little look up the inside, and Fittipaldi as well in 7th place is challenging Mazepin. So this is a 3-way battle as they come round the first corner. Mazepin goes to the outside, Yu Kwai takes the inside, Mazepin has to get out of it. They're 3 abreast now. Mazepin up into 5th position, and Fittipaldi elbows his way through as well, forcing his way into 6th, and Yu Kwai crowded out there down to 7th place, and Jamie Chadwick as well. I wonder if Yu Kwai is going to lose another place here. The Chinese driver goes defensive. Jamie Chadwick looking for a way by. Mazepin holds on to that 5th place, but Fittipaldi very close behind him there in 6th place. Yu Kwai holds on to his 7th place, but Jamie Chadwick coming up on the inside of turn 5. We haven't seen too many people overtaking here, but I wonder if Jamie Chadwick can get by. No, she can't. Very difficult to overtake in these sweeping left and right-handers at turns 5 and 6 there. Great racing here between these 4 drivers. Fittipaldi pushing Mazepin, and Jamie Chadwick pushing Yu Kwai, and Jamie Chadwick has now got past Yu Kwai. So Jamie Chadwick up into 7th place, Yu Kwai down into 8th. So the Chinese driver down from 5th to 8th in the space of just a few corners. Disappointing for Yu Kwai, but Mazepin, Fittipaldi and Chadwick all move up a place at the expense of the Chinese driver. So Mazepin now up into 5th position from his 11th spot on the grid, so certainly making his way through the field, making up for lost time after those problems in qualifying. Fittipaldi as well, after a slow start. has made it back up into 6th place, and he was challenging Mazepin as well. Jamie Chadwick will want to improve on that 7th place that she's currently in after starting in 4th place, getting bogged down behind Ukyo Sasahara early in the race, and then getting crowded out as well and being forced down to 8th position. But Jamie Chadwick, 13 minutes of the race still to go and plenty of places to be made up here at Sepang. Jack Doohan still leading the race from his pole position, much as he did in race 10 this morning, or yesterday I should say. This morning in race 11 he started 3rd, but took the lead in lap 4 and was never headed, and it does look as if Jack Doohan is on his way to a hat-trick of wins. 3 wins from 3 races here at Sepang in round 4. A perfect showing so far from the Australian driver. But let's not put the commentator's curse on him just yet, because there's 12.5 minutes of racing still to go. And Joey Alders, the 2nd place man, is sure to have something interesting to say about that. He's still in 2nd place, still 3 seconds behind Jack Doohan. So Doohan can't relax just yet. He knows that any mistake he makes, Joey Alders will be there to capitalise on that. There is Joey Alders, the 2nd place man, now some 7 seconds ahead of Yu Kanemaru, who is still in 3rd place. So the two of them at the front, just eking out even more of a lead over the chasing pack. But Kanemaru is still 3rd, Tommy Smith still 4th, Mazepin 5th, Fittipaldi 6th, Chadwick 7th, Yu Kuai 8th, Miki Koyama in 9th place, Alessio De Leda in 10th place, Ukyo Sasahara still going and still showing in 11th place, and Thomas Ludi bringing up the rear in 12th position. Here is your race leader, Jack Doohan, once again coming around this final corner, turn 15. We've seen that has been a very popular overtaking point so far this weekend. Plenty of drivers taking their chances there. And Yu Kanemaru, a big lock up there on his front left tyre, just snatching a little bit at the brakes. He won't want to do that too much, because the more you lock your wheels like that, the more that you'll ruin your tyres. And we saw this morning how Joey Alders had considerable tyre trouble. So the drivers will want to look after those tyres, not do anything too silly, and not want to lock up and create a flat spot on those tyres, which is going to make it all the more difficult to drive cleanly. So just under 11 minutes to go now. Yu Kanemaru still in 3rd position, some 1.7 seconds ahead of Tommy Smith now, who's in 4th place. So that's Tommy Smith's best showing of the season so far. But Nikita Mazepin closing up on Tommy Smith. He took a second out of the Australian driver on that last lap. Mazepin's last lap, a 2-minute 4.4. Smith, a 2-minute 5.3. So Mazepin catching Tommy Smith, and Pietro Fittipaldi in 6th place, also catching Tommy Smith. His last lap, a 2-minute 4.7. So Mazepin will be on Tommy Smith very quickly at this current rate. And there you see the Russian driver with the red helmet in the number 3 car, just behind Tommy Smith, the young Australian. This, the battle for 4th place. Mazepin now right on the gearbox of Tommy Smith. I wonder if he'll be close enough to make a move down at the turn 15 hairpin. There is Jamie Chadwick still in 7th place, not close enough to have a go at Fittipaldi just yet. But Mazepin certainly in the ballpark of having a go at Tommy Smith. This is the right-hander at turn 14. Very important to get a good exit, because this is a long, long straight, and Tommy Smith feeling the pressure there because he's going defensive. He knows that Mazepin is hungry and trying to get past him. Mazepin's got to go the long way round if he's going to do it this time. Tommy Smith going to the inside line. Tommy Smith takes the inside, Mazepin to the outside. And Tommy Smith holding on to that position. Good driving from the Australian. He didn't run wide and compromise his exit and give Mazepin a free run as they went onto the long pit straight now. But Mazepin coming back at him again, going around the outside as they come to the right-hander at turn 1. Tommy Smith still with the inside line. Mazepin going to the outside. Can he hang it around the outside and take the inside for turn 2? Yes, he can. Mazepin therefore up into 4th position now. Tommy Smith down to 5th. Mazepin made that move stick. If you go on the outside of turn 1 here, and you can stay around the outside of your opponent, you suddenly find yourself with the inside line for turn 2, and that helps hugely. And that's what Mazepin did, and found himself in that very advantageous position, taking the inside line, taking the corner, and up into 4th position. And now look at this, Fittipaldi very close behind Tommy Smith, and he's going to fancy his chances as well. He's just seen Mazepin make a move, and he's going to want to get past Tommy Smith and continue on his merry way. Here he goes side by side as they go through the right-hander at turn 7. Difficult to pass around this double right-hander, but still there side by side. Tommy Smith off the track there. Has Fittipaldi made it through? He's nudging ahead, but Smith still has the inside line for this left-hander. They go side by side again. Fittipaldi with the inside for the right-hander, and he makes that move stick. Good racing from these two, side by side for several corners there, but Fittipaldi forcing his way through up into 5th position. And now Jamie Chadwick is going to have a look at Tommy Smith, who's lost a little bit of momentum, fighting first with Mazepin and then with Fittipaldi, and that has allowed Chadwick to close up with just 7.5 minutes of racing still to go. Here is the long back straight, a good opportunity for Chadwick to close up. Smith runs a little wide onto the AstroTurf there. Has that compromised his exit, I wonder, as they come on the long back straight? Tommy Smith still ahead of Chadwick, but I wonder if Chadwick's going to the inside. No, not quite close enough for a move yet, but Smith, has he gone a little bit wide there? Chadwick very much tighter as they go through the turn 15 hairpin, the left-hander onto this long back straight to start lap 12. Chadwick going side by side and pulling out to try to make a move on Tommy Smith as they come round. Smith going defensive, but he might find it difficult to get the speed through the corner if he's going that tight. Chadwick going to the inside, and Chadwick taking that position, and well, Tommy Smith having to back out of that, and Chadwick up into 6th position. So Tommy Smith losing positions there to Mazepin, Fittipaldi and Chadwick. The Australian driver down to 7th place now, with just over 6 minutes of the race still to go. Good racing between these four, Mazepin, Fittipaldi, Chadwick and Smith. Tommy Smith now coming back, is he, at Jamie Chadwick? Perhaps smarting from having lost a few places in the course of that lap, and he'll want to come back at Jamie Chadwick, but I think the British driver has that 6th place covered for the time being. This is the double right-hander at turns 7 and 8, and Chadwick firmly ensconced now in 6th position. Fittipaldi in 5th place, Mazepin in 4th place, and this man, Jack Doohan, still leading the race. We haven't seen too much of him in the last few laps because we've been focusing on the battle further down the field, but rest assured, Jack Doohan still leading the race ahead of Joey Alders. The gap now 2.8 seconds, so pretty constant. I think Jack Doohan has got this all sewn up. I think it's all over bar the shouting. And Joey Alders some 10 seconds ahead of Yu Kanemaru, who himself is keeping it well ahead of Nikita Mazepin. Kanemaru's last lap a 2-minute 4.9, Mazepin a 2-minute 4.5. So Mazepin taking out just under half a second out of Yu Kanemaru on that last lap. So at the current rate of progress, Mazepin might be on Kanemaru by the last lap. We might have a last lap charge for Mazepin trying to get that 3rd position from Yu Kanemaru. I should think Alders and Doohan will be out of reach because they're some 10 seconds further up the road, but still plenty of close racing further down the field. Kanemaru, his last lap, another 2 minutes 4.9. Mazepin's last lap, a 2-minute 4.2. And the gap now is down to 1 second. So Mazepin catching Yu Kanemaru, and I think this is going to be the next big battle, the one for 3rd place, the final podium position. Can Mazepin grab that position from Kanemaru, or can the Japanese driver hold on for his first top 3 finish since his dominant win in race 6 in Dubai? Meanwhile, this is Joey Alders, the Dutch driver, still in 2nd place, ahead of everybody except this man, Jack Doohan, who is still leading the race and looks set to make it 3 wins out of 3 here at Sepang this weekend. Jack Doohan, just 17 years of age, Australian, although racing with a British racing licence, and son of the legendary Mick Doohan, the former motorcycle world champion, 500cc, a very famous and iconic racer in his own right, but his boy Jack looks as if he's well on the way to creating a little bit of history for himself as well, because with 4 wins so far under his belt, he's challenging for this F3 Asian Championship 2020 title, along with Joey Alders, and it does seem that the two of them have a bright future in motorsport. This now the battle for third place, and Mazepin is right on the gearbox of Yu Kanemaru. Perhaps not close enough for a move just yet, and Yu Kanemaru feeling the pressure there. He locks up, runs a little bit wide. Has that given Mazepin a chance as they come onto the start-finish straight to start another lap? Yu Kanemaru looking in his mirrors. You can see him darting his head this way and that. He knows that Mazepin's right behind him, and he's trying to keep the Russian driver behind him. Mazepin staying in the slipstream of Yu Kanemaru, not moving to the inside, going to the outside there as they go around turn 1, but not quite close enough. Still 2.5 minutes to go, so no need to panic just yet. No need for a do-or-die lunge from Mazepin at the moment. He's still got a bit of time. I would guess around about 2 more laps to go before the race ends. So Mazepin has another chance to get by Kanemaru, but the Japanese driver holding his own at the moment, defending that third position for all it's worth. But Mazepin catching him 0.7 of a second he took out of Kanemaru on that last lap. Mazepin's last lap a 2 minutes 4.5 and Kanemaru a 2 minutes 5.2. Kanemaru still third, Mazepin still fourth. Fittipaldi dropping back a little bit in 5th place. It doesn't look like he'll be in a position to challenge Mazepin for 4th place unless Mazepin and Kanemaru have a little bit of a conflab. And we can, of course, hope that that doesn't happen. We want to see clean racing, good racing, hard racing, but fair racing, with the two drivers giving each other enough room. And that's exactly what we've seen so far this weekend. Fantastic racing up and down the field here at Sepang in all 3 races, and this is the battle for third place, the final podium position. Mazepin will look to go into the slipstream of Kanemaru to get a bit of a tow and hopefully break the wind resistance, and that helps him go a little bit quicker as we look at Jack Doohan starting another lap. This is the last lap. Joey Alders in 2nd place, so Mazepin, if he wants to get past Kanemaru, and he hasn't done just yet because you can see the Japanese driver there still ahead, this is it. This is Mazepin's last chance to grab that final podium place. Can he do it in the last lap of racing? Look at Kanemaru. He's looking left and right in his mirrors. He knows that Mazepin is right there and is keen to get past him. The Russian driver not close enough for a look through the inside or the outside of turn 1 there, still staying behind and locking up his wheels there. You can see how hard the Russian driver is working. He desperately wants to get on the podium again here this weekend. He finished 2nd in this morning's race, and he'll want to at least grab 3rd position here, but he's not quite close enough as they go through turn 4. Kanemaru still holding on to that 3rd position and soaking up the pressure very well indeed. Not being pressurized into doing anything silly, not being pressurized into a mistake, just holding his position, placing his car in all the right positions or all the wrong positions as far as Mazepin is concerned, because the Japanese driver Kanemaru not letting the Russian Mazepin get past. Doohan still leading, Alders still in 2nd place, and Kanemaru still holding on to that 3rd place. There he is, the Japanese driver, and he's pulled out a little bit of a gap now. I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's too much for Mazepin to claw back over the last few corners. Pietro Fittipaldi is still in 5th position. Jamie Chadwick still in 6th place. She's dropped back a little bit, some 2.5 seconds behind Fittipaldi, who himself is 2 seconds behind Mazepin. But while we were looking at the battle for 3rd place, this is your race leader, Jack Doohan, who started from pole position, was never headed, comes around the final corner. He's made it look very, very easy all weekend long, and Jack Doohan makes it 3 wins out of 3 here at Sepang. A hat-trick of victories in Sepang for Jack Doohan. Joey Alders comes through in 2nd position. But who is third? Is it Yu Kanemaru or is it Nikita Mazepin? The two of them come through the final corner. Mazepin closes, but it's too late, and Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, takes that third place. Mazepin has to settle for fourth place. Fittipaldi finishes fifth. Jamie Chadwick is in sixth place. Tommy Smith finishes seventh, and it's Yu Kwai in eighth place. And Miki Koyama finishes in ninth position. There is Jack Doohan. He's been pretty reserved after his 2 wins so far earlier this weekend, but after 3 wins from 3, I should think he'll be very, very happy with his weekend's work now, and I think we'll see him celebrate a whole lot more on the podium now. He can really enjoy that champagne, and he's certainly earned it. A fantastic drive, a lights-to-flag victory, never really threatened. Joey Alders tried his best, but he had no answer to the pace of Jack Doohan this afternoon, or indeed all weekend long. The weekend really has belonged to Jack Doohan. He has been the class of the field so far this weekend in Sepang, and he's now taken, of course, another 7 points out of that championship lead. The lead now down to 15 points. Joey Alders leading the championship. Jack Doohan just 15 points behind in second position. And what a battle we have now for the championship as it heads to the final round in Thailand, in Buriram next weekend. The final 3 races of the 2020 championship season, and a straight fight between Jack Doohan and Joey Alders for the championship lead. Fantastic to have such a close battle up at the front. And I can't wait to see what sort of racing we're going to get next weekend in Buriram between these 2 drivers, Jack Doohan and Joey Alders. Nikita Mazepin, of course, still mathematically just about in the championship hunt, but realistically it's between Joey Alders and Jack Doohan for the 2020 F3 Asian Championship crown now. Doohan finishing first today, Alders finishing in second place. Yu Kanemaru, the Japanese driver, he'll be very happy with his third position. The first time that he's been on the podium this season since race 6, where he won in Dubai, and just the second time overall. And he withstood some pretty intense pressure in the last few laps from Nikita Mazepin, who was working his way through the field after starting in 11th place. So Yu Kanemaru can be well pleased with his afternoon's work. Mazepin, of course, finishing 4th after problems in qualifying meant that he had to start down in 11th place. But finishing 4th from 11th on the grid, certainly a very fine achievement for the Russian driver. Pietro Fittipaldi finishes in 5th position, and Jamie Chadwick has to settle for 6th place after finishing 3rd in the previous 2 races here this weekend. He was hoping for another podium finish, 3 podium finishes from 3, but lost out in the first lap after being caught behind Ukyo Sasahara's stricken high-tech car, which stalled on the grid before later getting underway and then crowded out. So Chadwick having to settle for 6th place. And there is Jack Doohan. Well, he looks happy now, doesn't he? He was pretty reserved this morning and yesterday afternoon, but he can really enjoy himself and let his hair down a little bit now. Fantastic performance, receiving the congratulations from his team and his mechanics. And there is his father, Mick Doohan. A very proud father indeed after watching his boy win 3 races from 3 here in Sepang this weekend. And we'll hear from Jack Doohan a little later on. It'll be very interesting to see exactly what he's got to say once he's taken his helmet off. And the 2 prongs that are going around his neck and shoulders there, that is the HANS device, the head and neck support that attaches to the driver's helmet and helps protect them in the event of an accident, helps prevent the head from moving too far in one direction, helps prevent neck injuries like whiplash. And another very important safety innovation, not just in F3, but in motorsport the world over. We'll be hearing from race winner Jack Doohan shortly. Joey Alders in 2nd place and Yu Kanemaru in 3rd place. Those are your top 3 drivers, and we'll be seeing them celebrate on the podium very shortly indeed. So Jack Doohan certainly a lot happier now than he was earlier on the grid. Let's hear from him with Feline now.
So Jack, congratulations. 3 wins like this weekend. It's a good weekend for you, and also you close the gap for the overall championship with Joey for only 15 points now. Tell us about your race weekend.
Yeah, good weekend. Come here with a job to do, win all 3 races, and by that, starting on pole for both of them. So that was good. We did everything we had to do. Closed the gap for the championship. So no, I think that's we came here to do a job and we did it. So that's it.
我刚刚问到 Jack 呢，他自己呢他得到了这个比赛中3场全部获得了胜利。那么在总冠军的排行榜上呢，也和 Joey 的分差只有15分了。他也提到了他非常高兴呢，在这里能取得3场的胜利，而且呢，因为他是来争夺这个总冠军的，所以呢，缩小分差对他来讲也是非常的重要。Back to you guys.
Well, a perfect weekend for Jack Doohan. 3 wins from 3. And now just 15 points behind championship leader Joey Alders as we head to the final round of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship in Buriram in Thailand next weekend. And Doohan now with some real momentum, certainly has the wind in his sails. And Joey Alders, I should think, very much feeling the pressure now, certainly a lot more than he was at the beginning of this race weekend. Confirmation then that Jack Doohan is your race winner. 3.7 seconds ahead of Joey Alders, finishing in 2nd place. Yu Kanemaru, Alders' teammate, finishing 3rd, just ahead of Mazepin, who finished 4th. Fittipaldi in 5th place. Jamie Chadwick in 6th position. Tommy Smith, 7th. Yu Kwai in 8th place. Miki Koyama in 9th. And Alessio De Leda rounding out the points-paying positions in 10th position. Well, thankfully, the rain relented. We didn't have a wet race like we did yesterday evening for race 10. Races 11 and 12, absolutely bone dry. Bright sunshine, as you can see, a little bit of wind here at Sepang, and a fantastic weekend's racing. Good action up and down the field. Lots of overtaking and lots of good respect shown from the drivers to each other, passing and repassing each other, but giving each other enough room and enough respect, nobody tangling with each other, and very good to see indeed. A lot of these drivers hoping to get to the higher echelons of motorsport, certainly very hungry to continue their motorsport careers, so could be forgiven for perhaps some flashes of impetuosity or impatience, trying to throw a move up the inside where there wasn't one, but we saw none of that this weekend at all. Some very mature drives up and down the field. And I think all the drivers can emerge from this weekend with a great deal of credit. And let's go now to the podium ceremony to see Jack Doohan, Joey Alders and Yu Kanemaru.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now having the podium ceremony for 2020 Formula 3 Asian Championship, certified by FIA, race 12. Now let's welcome our winners onto the podium. Winner of race 12, car number 7 from Pinnacle Motorsports, Jack Doohan. Second place, car number 23 from Black Class Racing, Joey Alders. Third place, car number 63 from Black Class Racing, Yu Kanemaru. Now it's my honor to invite Mr. Conway Liu, Executive Director of International RD Centers of Giti Car Company, to present the trophy to the winners. Now let's welcome Master Cup winners. Winner of Master Cup, car number 9 from Black Class Racing, Tatuus F3. Now let's invite Mr. David Bobby, General Manager of Top Speed Shanghai Unity, to present the trophy to Master Cup winner. Let's have group photo. Thank you very much. Now it is this
So, after a fantastic weekend's racing here at Sepang in round 4, the 2020 F3 Asian Championship moves on next weekend to round 5 at Buriram in Thailand. Coming up next, the press conference for the top 3 drivers here this afternoon. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the press conference for race 12 of the F3 Asian Championship. Congratulations to all our podium finishers. First of all, Jack, congratulations. You came here, you said, with a job to do. You've most certainly done that with 3 wins, reducing the championship gap to 15 points. Did that seem like the longest race in the world, and at any point did you allow yourself to think about the championship?
No, I wasn't really focusing on the championship too much. Obviously, always in the back of my mind. It's a valuable point. But yeah, it was a long race out by myself. Just worry about the tyre deck, and 15 laps. We didn't really have a race yet in this type of heat, so it was different circumstances. But no, yeah, a good start, and then I think it was kind of like a yo-yo between me and Joey. The pace was varying, but luckily, I still got the win and a perfect weekend, double pole, 3 wins. So came here to do a job, and we did it.
Fantastic, thank you. Joey, you had a bit of a setback in the last race. You bounced back, no problem, clearly. It looked like you had a lot better pace in that race.
Yeah, first of all, massive congratulations to Jack Doohan for taking 3 wins in the weekend. Really impressive. So yeah, race 2, we had a problem with the rear tires. After lap 5, 6, the rears just exploded, started sliding, and just continued more degrading. So started sliding more and dropped back. So you could all see it in qualifying. That were the tires from Q1. I was 1.2 seconds off the pace. So yeah. We looked at the data, did exactly the same lines, same braking points in Q1 and Q2, but it was just 1.2 seconds time difference. So, yeah, we don't know what the problem is. Yeah, race 2 went all good. No tire, drop off. Saved the tires a little bit in the beginning of the race. Maybe a bit too much. The gap was a bit too big. Later on, tried to catch Doohan again. But yeah, we were driving like identical times, so it was, yeah, like I said, a bit of a JoJo effect. So I couldn't really catch up. So yeah, good race. Getting tight in the points in the championship, so we'll see in Buriram.
Thank you. Coming to you, Kanemaru, congratulations. An excellent race for you. tell us a bit about the start, because you came through very, very quickly, and then later in the race you did a fantastic job holding up Giti. Just tell us about that, please.
Yeah, definitely we had a great start, and we were the P3 after turn 1, and there on I tried to catch up these guys, but these guys were too quick in the beginning and yeah, I focused on saving the rear tires, because that leg was massive during the race. And yeah, I think that bit of saving the tires helped us in the end to defend off Nikita from the P3. So yeah, I'm really happy with the result. Thank you.
Fantastic. Congratulations to you all, and we'll see you in Buriram. Can we have a group photo, please? Thank you.